the new students that are from outside. I do hope that this session will be very, very valuable to you in terms of insights and how we run a revision program for CTA, particularly for the auditing module. I'm not sure if you guys are comfortable with cameras on. I know that we will have some connectivity issues. So I just wanted you to know that there is someone behind those initials. And it's some introduction. So my name is Sam. I'm the lecturer for auditing. So I currently perform all the levels of auditing from first year all the way to CTA. I'm currently a head of risk at one of the big financial institutions. And I've been teaching auditing for quite some time now. I've also been a student and had to manage work-life balance as well, as incorporating studies. And I think, when it comes to CTA, there is a lot of effort. You literally don't have any life. And I think, the challenges that we are facing currently with regards to working from home, creating boundaries, also that we were always very used to face-to-face interaction, and we are facing those challenges. I know some of you guys are new to the platform. So once again, welcome to you guys. I hope that, you will be able to gain insights of how the program will operate, how we can support you best, and of course, to keep you motivated as we approach the exam. Of course, CTA is very, hectic. I'm going to use that word, but it's also very, manageable if you can pace your time and stick to a study program. And that becomes very, very important. You need to be very dedicated, and you also need to make sure that you create that routine. Also, what becomes very important is that when you practice, you make sure that you do it under these exam conditions. So, of course, when you are writing that exam, you will be able to, have that feel already of being in an environment and under these exam conditions. So you feel that pressure, you know the pace, and you know how you're going to, approach and time yourself. Before I start, I just want to get a feel from you guys. What are your expectations for this exam prep course? And just to make sure that we all aligned, is there any questions, comments at this point?
Hi, Sam. Speaking to Patrick.
Hello. Hi, Patrick.
I just wanted to ask, in terms of just the layout, would it be a classroom format, or would it be a lecture sort of format where we watch recordings?
So for this particular exam course, it's going to be, teaching and illustrating the topics through case studies. So what we've planned to do is, over the next few weeks, particularly for auditing, we will work through 6 case studies, and through that, revise key concepts. So it's going to be case studies from your tutorial letter 106. There is no videos or content, particularly for the exam course within that classroom. But what will be made available is the recordings after the sessions if you happen to miss it. Of course, we want those sessions to be very interactive, where we go through the question, we read the scenario, we go through the requireds, and through the requireds, for instance, if they're talking about pre-engagement activities, just recap, what does that mean? When we talk of, for instance, King and the key concepts, what are we looking out for? How would we attempt this question and exam technique? I'm not sure if I answered your question completely.
No, you did. Thank you.
Sam, so there won't be any notes, basically.
No, so there won't be
any notes. Okay.
No, there won't be notes in the exam prep class, but if you want access to all of the notes and the recordings, then that should be something that you need to get into the main classroom. This will be very focused on contact sessions and working through those case studies from the period now in August up until September. Of course, we will be able to support you, where you struggle with certain questions as you study and practice on your own. So that could be done via email or the stream.
Okay,
but there wouldn't be
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Bella. I see another hand, Patrick.
Sorry, just in terms of the classes as well, is it also like from 6 to 7 or 6 to 8? What are the time and the breakdown? Because I do know you're also working.
Yeah, so I've scheduled my auditing contact sessions on a Saturday from 8 to 12. So the first one, sorry, I just want to admit the other students. So the first one is scheduled for the 14th of August, and I've already added it onto the pacer if you're in the classroom. But basically, it is tutorial letter 106 from for 4862, and we will be attempting 2 case studies from there. So it's on a Saturday, 14th of August. The second one is the 4th of September, if I recall, and then 18th of September. So we split them out. So as you pace yourself and go through your exam prep, this would be follow-on sessions as well. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we will work through just tutorial 106, the case that is in there, and you say it's for the one for 4862. I'm doing 4861, so I'm wondering how do I access that now?
So so of course, remember, we teach this module together. The concepts are exactly the same, just you find that the level of testing could be a bit different. So we select the best questions where we could illustrate topics. I have linked the tutorial letter onto the pacer as well, so for students who don't have access to this particular one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So Bella, so you'll find that available to you. Is there any other questions? So if there isn't, please do stop me. If you have any questions, please don't feel shy. No question is too elementary to ask, so please. So how we plan to do this is that we know that you did write your test yesterday, and I hope that it actually went very well. So over the next few weeks, you need to make sure that you create a study plan. And this doesn't only entail auditing, it's of course entails all of your subjects where you incorporate, your management accounting, your tax, your finance. You would also find if you're joining the other sessions for exam prep, there's also going to be a schedule. So we've tried to coordinate where there wouldn't be any sort of duplication. And, you will be able to spend your time, and attend these sessions. So what's important is that you can't just wait for the first session or when we're doing these sessions. Remember, when it comes to auditing, it's all about practicing. You need to practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, you will become at ease. You will be able to be more confident. You would increase your pace in terms of writing your answers. And remember, when it comes to auditing, we are very passionate about what we get wrong. So what becomes very, very important is that when you work through these scenarios, auditing is just not about I look at the question and then I look at the answer and then I audit that answer. It's for you to actually take the question, sit down under exam conditions, time yourself, at the end stop, and then refer to the suggested solutions and mark your answers. And then reflect on, why didn't I score most of my marks? Is it because I didn't understand the required? Is it because, I didn't know all of the points? And that's where you become passionate of what you got wrong. Whatever you got right, you'll forever get that right because you know that. So the more questions you practice, the better for you. So the approach would be, it's not just I've written test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. It is now going back and revising. So of course, when it comes to content, it should be a pure refresher of, the topics. So, if you do struggle with certain, aspects, you need to go back, through the content, work through your tutorial letters. I'm not sure to the extent of prep you've done for each of the tests, but when you open your tutorial letters, you will find that you have a lot of questions there as well. You have mini questions, and then they give you self-assessment questions. So that is what your focus should be during the course of the week, where you go through that content, through your tutorial letters, and work through it. We also cannot go on the assumption that, okay, in test 1, they've tested 1, 2, 3. It can never be tested again in the main exam. Every single topic is examinable. Also, when it comes to, test 4 and your Psycho Code of Professional Conduct, your Companies Act King, I urge you to please navigate through your handbooks. Of course, these sections become a bit more harder because it's considered an open book test. So whilst you study, you need to reference. It's best that you study King and all of these various legislation like your APA and your Companies Act directly from the handbook. So you are very, very familiar. It doesn't help getting into this exam, and then it's the first time that you are opening up your handbook. So the expectations, and I want to just be very clear of what can you expect from me as your partner in this, in your studies. So what you can expect from me in these sessions is that we will go through each of these case studies. Of course, I've already put in which case study that we will be focusing on the various weeks. It's imperative that you do read the case study before you come to class as well. So you already understand the context of what the scenario, tells you. And of course, if you have any further questions that we can unpack. So how it would be structured is that we would go through the requireds, we would read the questions, we will mark sort of keywords or hints that you need to look out for, as you study. Like I've also mentioned as well, we will be going through or teaching concepts through this sort of case study. So for instance, like I said, if they asked you pre-engagement activities, we will basically go through what is pre-engagement activities, what should I look out for when drafting my response. And then, of course, I will take questions. I've scheduled, it's going to be 4-hour sessions, so from 8 to 12. So hopefully in that time, we will be able to comfortably finish and discuss end to end, very comprehensive, those, case studies. I also don't want it to be a session where I sit there and I just talk for the whole 4 hours. It must be very interactive, and this will help you as a student because you will remember what your fellow colleagues have also, mentioned in the session, any, context or, understanding a particular aspect that you would have learned from the session. So very, very important for you to be engaged, to engage in the session. I encourage that engagement. There is no question too stupid to ask. Remember, this will be your platform, and this is something that you need to make sure you get full value out of it. Also, sessions will be recorded, like I said, and placed onto the classroom. But, it will be best if you do actually attend. Make the time diarized, attend, so you can also ask your question in that session. Like I also mentioned, there is, support where you can post your question in the stream or email. But of course, it can't be like, I need to go through an entire question. Particularly, you have to say, I'm struggling with 1, 2, 3, 4. Please, can you guide me on those aspects? And whilst we want to help every single student and make sure we get back to your queries on time, we also need to make sure that we do make time to attend these sessions so you can answer. Remember, like I said, and I can't stress it enough, this is your platform. This is your tool to do well. I also want to touch a bit on how am I feeling after I've seen my results for the test. And what I can tell you is that don't feel despondent. Yes, you could be very upset with the marks that you received. You're also trying to make sense of, I felt very confident when I wrote, but when I look at the marks, I'm not actually that confident. Why? what I can say to you is that you can reflect on your marks. You can also, write to your lecturers at UNISA to say, guide me. Where did I get wrong? Where did I go wrong? Any points or any tips? But remember, you can still excel in the next test if for the next 8 weeks you give it all that you have, not only for auditing but for all of your subjects. And that means sticking to your study plan, being very, very, very dedicated to that study plan, and using those extra hours and incorporating. I know that we are working from home. We're faced with a lot of challenges in this time with the pandemic, dealing with infections and the well-being, and that too also impacts how we would be able to study, because of course we need a good mindset to be able to take in what we are studying. So I know it's very hard, but of course, you have to give it that time. And if you give it your time and your best, I am positive that you will excel. My only, my advice to you is that the more questions that you practice, the more you reflect on where you went wrong, and then you are passionate about where you went wrong, and ultimately, understanding what was your troubles, you will be able to excel in your test. And of course, we do have these various tools available for you to utilize and support you. So in terms of the program, you need to decide. You can do it in sequence, but remember, everything is examinable. So for instance, from next week, you are going to revise your tutorial letter 102, which covered your test 1. And you're going to go through you're going to briefly go through the content, because I feel that is more of refresher stuff. And then you're going to tackle the questions. You're going to go through the many questions that they have to illustrate those topics and complete all of the case studies that you may have not have gotten to for the test, or you are doing a refresher. I could also say to my 4862 guys that you shouldn't panic. What will be good for you to also refresh is that get hold of the 4861 tutorial letters. And, it's nice to start baby steps. So you start with that, build your confidence, and then you can move on to your 4862 tutorial letters again. But I'm also mindful to say 4861 is way easier. No, it's not way easier. It's just a different style of testing, but the content is exactly the same. So that would also be very valuable. You also find that sometimes in the 4862 exam, they've taken questions from 4861. So definitely, it is something worthwhile looking at in terms of the questions if you want to increase, or you want another base of questions that you would like to revise as well. So, definitely you have my commitment and support in, as we approach this exam, but it's up to you to also remember to remain very focused and dedicated and stick to that plan. So if we say next week, you start with your, if we can count for each test, the content, and you spend around a week and a half to refresh. And then we go into our contact sessions. Of course, within the contact sessions, you may have not got to some of the topics that you're supposed to have revised, but you can revise in class and use that as a revision session for you to, also start, pondering about what is my key points when I look at these sections, and what do I need to work on, be it King, be it the Code of Professional Conduct. Of course, I can't say to you that you'll get your marks soon for the test 4 that you've written, but irrespective of the marks that you have got, you still need to make sure you focus on every single topic and make sure that you are very confident. And like I said, and I can't stress it enough, the more questions you practice will give you that confidence. I'll give you guys a chance to chat to me with your questions, suggestions, help your colleagues as well, your fellow students, in terms of if you found a great study method, how could they approach it as well? Yeah, I'd like to hear from you guys as well. Any comments, suggestions, questions? Please do engage. Remember, this is your platform.
Hi, Sam. My comment really, I've done questions. I just don't know what other method I should utilize, because at this stage I'm really hoping somebody here can advise, because I mean I do the questions, and then in the tests I feel very confident with the way I answered the question. Even the scenario felt very easy, listening to the videos and knowing what to look for in a specific sentence, or what not to ignore if there is such information. But when it comes to the results coming back to me, I really am not impressed with any of them, and I'm speaking nothing above 50, so it's really worrisome.
Yeah, so I know we've also had this chat before as well. So of course, what I can suggest is that you need to work through some of the suggested solutions that UNISA does give you, to understand maybe you're not articulating it in the right way, or why do I find the scenario manageable, but where I'm putting it down on paper, that's where I'm not getting the marks. So I think maybe, for me, I can't answer of how they mark and how they mark, but of course, what becomes reflective in your answer is, is it correct, and have you answered in context of the question? And I think maybe we can also just spend some time. I know that you've raised this with me before, and then we could just have a look at maybe how you're drafting your responses and take it from there. But happy and welcome suggestions from your colleagues around, the same matter as well, because I don't think you're the only one.
If I can make a comment, also to be like transparent. So this is my first time doing CTA, but like to say that you only have 40s for your test, now not to say that it would be easy, but it's not uncommon that most people will go in. Some of them haven't even passed the test for the year, and then they pass everything in the exam. I think it's like what Sam is saying. It's not necessarily how much you know, because I think everyone here knows enough of the content. Sometimes it's just your confidence, but it's just how you answer the question specifically. So if you kind of look at your like answers, like not cramming the answer, because that's what I'm guilty of, because like you've run out of time and you do the easiest option, but just looking for UNISA's tendencies and understanding what they're looking for when they ask a question and they use specific words. If they say discuss, how do you lay it out in what's been shown in the most recent template, so that a UNISA marker can find judgment to give you marks? You know what I mean? What's a half mark? What's not a full mark? So you can identify those things in the scenario, so that if your threshold, let's just say, is 53% or something, then okay, these are the sections I can attack first in this template. And then I can feel kind of some sort of assurance that I've gotten the marks that I need for the exam. So it's like a mathematical thing at one point, and then a theoretical thing to say that I know enough to put that into my templates.
Thanks, Patrick, for that as well. Yes, you're quite right that I think, what's also quite important is that we also look at the tutorial letters and the hints from your lecturers. And you touched on a very, very important point in terms of how you articulate your answers. And they're looking for specific ways of how you draft your answers, specific words. And I think, that's something you also need to stick to, because how they're marking is that if it's not on the marking grid, you're not going to be allocated the mark, even though you're trying to articulate it differently. So I think that becomes important, to work quite closely with the suggested solutions to see how best you articulate, and also take into consideration the hints from the lecturers within your tutorial letters. Shaylin, I see your hand's been up for some time. I do apologize. We can take your comment or query next.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I have a question regarding the cost. How much is it per lesson?
Oh gosh, you're asking the wrong person, but I can refer you. I'm not sure, right? But I can refer you to Joe, who's responsible for the admin, and they will be able to assist you with that. I'm not sure. but it comes in a
Okay.
bundle where you would do, where it comes in a bundle where it would be all the contact sessions. So for the 6
Oh,
case studies.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so it's nice to see Patrick is not afraid to put his camera on. We get very, very shy. Okay, thanks so much. It's 900 Rand per module. Thanks for that. So in the module, thanks, Patrick. So in that module, of course, you've got the contact sessions and your support. Be mindful that it won't be actual notes. If you really need access to the notes and all the content from test 1 up until test 4, then that will be something that you need to consider to get into the main classroom. This exam prep is basically sort of focusing on doing past papers, giving you that support and teaching through those case studies. So you wouldn't find that it would be, a whole lot of notes and for you to go through that or the videos itself. It's basically the case studies and offering you additional support where required, where you go through questions on your own and you have any, questions or you need some additional support. Any other questions, comments, any fears that you'd like to share? But, please just don't stress about the marks. And as Patrick said as well, don't be despondent. Give it your all. You can do this. If we start this week, okay, let's give it a break. After the 9th of August, so after Women's Day, this will be your last long weekend of freedom. If you just give it your all, I promise you, you can excel in all of your subjects. If we work together, if we support each other, interactive on this platform, learning from each other, I think you will be able to do great. I promise you, whether it's level 1 or level 2, I think the effort that you put in, you will definitely see the results. Is everyone comfortable of how we're going to approach the next few weeks for auditing? Also, there is a classroom set up already. I've also added the pacer on our main classroom because I see there's some of the students from there as well. You are welcome to, go through that. We will be able to take questions. If you pop it into the stream, I will try to respond as quickly as possible. And if you have, any further questions, you can email me as well. And if I can't answer your query, I'll refer it to someone within the EBS team who will be able to assist if it's admin queries. When it's the auditing queries, I'll definitely be able to assist you. If there is any additional, questions or sims that I can share with you guys as well, once we actually progress towards the end of the course, then that will be added onto the pacer for you to also work through as well. If there's no further questions or comments, then I think we can end the session. I'm not sure if you're shy and you don't want to ask any questions now, but you can contact me, and I'm really, really looking forward to working with each and every one of you and to support you and to make sure that you excel and you get the best results for auditing this year. Patrick, I see your hand is up.
Sorry, I press it sometimes and it just, but yeah, I did have a question. I just wanted to know, just to confirm again, when is the start date?
14th is the first one. Saturday the 14th, which is not this weekend, it's the following weekend from 8 to 12. And I will post the links for that. And then the next one is the 4th of September. It's also a Saturday. And the last one is the 18th of September.
Okay, and then just to so then the case studies will be released beforehand, and then we go through them on these 3 sessions.
Yeah, the case studies is already onto that pacer. If you're in the classroom, I've linked it already.
Okay. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanna to chat to. I saw a question from Matapelo. Hello, how are you? If there is a need for the Monday sessions and there is practicing questions, then I will put that in the stream for my full-time classes as well. But there won't be any class next week. It is a public holiday. But Mokhadi, if there is any questions that you have in the interim, please do email me and then I will assist you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any final, open it up to general. If you have any questions, not audit specific, but you have a general question, you're more than welcome to ask it.
Which
Okay,
which financial institution did you say you work at?
I'm at F&B.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
So I'm at F&B. I'm a head of risk at iCustomer. So what I can tell you about where I work, it's very challenging, but very exciting. So if you do bank with F&B, if you look at the app, I'm not sure if you do bank with F&B, but if you look at the app and the certain icons there, like My Profile and Vault, my business unit is responsible for building all of that innovation. So it's quite exciting.
Yeah. Okay.
It is very exciting. It's very exciting. And you know what I love most is that it's not routine. It's change. It's always keeping me stimulated. But I also understand the pressures of, you know, working and studying. I'm also currently studying a postgraduate diploma in digital strategies in line with where I currently work as well, which will help me, you know, better in terms of risk tools. So I really, really do understand, you know, how we need to balance work. We find that work has no boundaries as well. We struggle to switch off and we find the need to always be online. But you really, really need to be very disciplined and you need to make sure this is your study time where you can use the time that you previously used to utilize for instance, traveling to the office. And if you are working from home, maybe you can perhaps, you know, pick up a question and work through it in that time. You know, even if you take your lunch hour, then you work through a question. So that also helps in putting all of those hours together and balancing as well. So that's quite important.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so I wish all of you the best. Okay, so we don't have a session. No, today was an intro session where I wanted to introduce, because there's also a lot of students that have not been in our full-time class as well, so they don't know who I am. So today was just an introduction and the approach to revision. So can I get your commitment that you will start revising your topics from next week? So you will start off with your test 1, work through the additional questions and your tutorial letters. And, you know, as you finish with that, you will move on to the test 2 content, test 3, and then you will recap again on test 4, which I think should be very, very fresh in your mind. If you can commit on that side, you also have my commitment to share as much and impart as much knowledge as I can through these contact sessions. So it's very valuable and supportive in terms of your study program. So I wish you all the best. Please take care of yourself and we will catch up soon. I'll post let me do it now, my email address. If there's any questions or where you need any help, then you can just email me and then I will assist you as well. So it's sam@ebs.co.za. Yeah, if you need to make contact with me. But I wish you all the best and looking forward to chatting to you soon where we go through our first 2 case studies. Take care and all the best.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Sam, bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.